Hey guys, it's Thursday. Today I'm just going to read one of the passages I was looking at potentially to share during our teaching, but I ended up cutting it to actually share during this continuing the conversation. But it's leaning a little bit into the um okay, if we're going to be in each other's lives as a blessing for one another, and we want to experience deep communal life together. We want to create small, focused, doable habits that like start to like it makes small investments and compound together to like have a exponentially greater result and return and impact. I do believe that there's some things that we have to be careful of. Like I was alluding to yesterday a little bit in the last one that I did. There are some things, whether like boundaries, but also some other things that we have to be guarded a little bit about. And specifically, I think the text that best represents this and really helps us get a grasp of this is actually in Galatians. So I'm going to read Galatians chapter 6, verses 1 through 6 real quick, and then kind of talk through that a little bit and give you that to think on. But it starts off like this. Brothers and sisters, if someone is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently. Okay? Let's start with that. And then after that says, Paul writes, but watch yourselves, or you also may be tempted. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. If anyone thinks that they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves. They deceive themselves. Each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else. For each one should carry their own load. Nevertheless, the one who receives instruction in the word should share all good things with their instructor. Now, I'm not going to lean into that last part. I probably should have stopped at verse 5, but I read through verse 6. So, but I mean, actually, maybe I will go in the last part. That there's something about like receiving a blessing from somebody that's like if somebody helps you, like you should share like the idea of sharing the good fruit and the good things, like the idea. And I'm not just talking about like pay them for that. Although if that's what you feel led to do, then you can bless them with that. Sure. But like the good that results from, I mean, let's just take the example, brothers and sisters. If someone is caught up in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore or mend or strengthen that person gently, which can be a form of instructing. Okay. So I do think, actually, I'm looking right here real quick. The katartizo is the Greek word for to restore. That's used up in verse 1. In the end, actually, katekeo, to instruct, to catechize, that's the word with it that means instructor down at the bottom. Well, that's the verb form of it, in other words. Anyway, I think there's a connection there. I just didn't look into that before I started this, so I'm not going to right now. What I am going to lean into is this. The fruit from that, the what comes from restoring a person gently, absolutely can be celebrated by both the instructor and the one who is instructed and has been brought out of that sin. But that's not even what I wanted to pull out. Just finishing that thought. What I wanted to, the main point of me reading this passage is it seems, at least on reading the English, that Paul's schizophrenic. In verse 2, he says, carry each other's burdens. And then down in verse 5, he says, each one should carry their own load. Now, what's going on here? Let me explain it. He's actually using two different words to emphasize something. I'm going to start at the end. Each one should carry their own load. The word there is, in that one, is used to describe like cargo, like what is expected of a ship to carry or a trade cart to carry. So like the burdens that come from daily life, the burdens that come from living life and doing what you do, each one should carry their own load. There's that. Okay. Got that? Good. Now going back up, when it says each one carry each other's burdens, the word there is it's a different burden. It's a different weight. It's actually, it deals a lot with the, let me pull this up here, a weight or heaviness, anything grievous, and that's hard to be borne. And it's like basically the difference, if you want to strip it down to the most simplest, is the carry each other's burdens are the big life altering burdens. But the carry your own load or carry your own burdens down in verse 5 is the everyday burdens that you carry from your job or from whatever. If they're not crushing you, if they're just inconvenient, sure, you might have a really bad day. But Paul says, carry your own load. And the idea there is, I think it's interesting because what he's trying to put in here is give illustrations of a healthy boundary so you don't overtax people. If somebody is constantly coming to another person saying, this sucked, I need you to help me, I need you to help me, I need you to help me, there's a couple things that happen there. Number one, the person that's helping might be happy to do so, but they're getting drained and they have less to give on their own burdens. There's one. Number two, what's happening for that person that's constantly asking for help is, my assumption is, in this example, I can make this assumption because I'm creating this example. In this example, this person isn't making efforts to grow in their ability or their strength to handle their own burdens. So like there's a fine line somewhere between if you are overwhelmed and all of a sudden even like your main burdens of the day are overbearing, then absolutely ask for help. But that should not be the norm, is what I'm trying to say. I think that's the clearest way to phrase that. And so like even within this, I was struck by I'm always drawn to this passage when I'm thinking, okay, what are the healthy boundaries of what I ask people for help for and what I expect people to ask for help for? Like if your life is crumbling and falling apart, you should ask for help because we are instructed in order to, according to Paul, in fulfilling the law of Christ, we will help you carry that burden. You do not carry that alone. But over here, if you just had a rough day, we will have sympathy for you. We will love you, but you're going to carry that, and we will come alongside you and be there for you should it become overwhelming. That can be a little confusing to explain or to understand, but I'm really interested in that passage, and so I wanted to share that with you. Go back and check it out. It's Galatians chapter 6, 1-6, and just lean into that. I really believe this is a good place to start when trying to learn what boundaries you should have in the family as we grow to try to become an even closer, deeply connected church family. That doesn't mean, please don't take this, like I am notorious for prefacing or for thinking like anybody can take anything that I say and take it the wrong way. And so then it makes me talk longer. But please don't take that as mean I can't ask for help for anything. That's not true. But I do believe there could be something where, you know, how cool would it be if nobody gets offended, but if when they're asking for help, somebody be like, hey, I think you can handle that. So I want you to try, but I'm still here with you. I'm not abandoning you, but I think you can handle that. So I want you to try to do that. You know, how cool would it be if we love each other gently to be able to speak that like clearly and kindly and lovingly. The word that he used in verse 1 is gently, and the other person not be offended by that because they know that this is a family deeply rooted and foundationed on Jesus and the love that he has, that he is pouring in us and through us to one another. So think about that and give that some thought. I don't know actually if I will have something for tomorrow. So I might actually just relabel this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday follow-up because I'm heading out of town. And so yeah, actually I'll just do this now. This will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday follow-up for this weekend. If you haven't done the challenge, please try. It can be super small. Like I'm not asking for a doctoral thesis ever with all these challenges. I'm just asking for, hey, I'm trying to give opportunities or ideas for small steps that can be taken to work toward a big life change. And I promise you, just like I wrote this week, actually, for the prayer email, and if you didn't read that, then this might be new for you too. When it comes to generosity, there are things that we learn and grow in and experience in the kingdom of God that only happen when we practice generosity. It does not happen any other way, but it only happens when we practice generosity, and that's the way God set that up. I think the same thing is true for when you take small, intentional, organized steps into creating and living out what it is that God desires his community to look like. If you have questions or want to process that further, I'd love to chat. I will just have to do it when I get back Sunday evening, or later next week. So just, shoot me an email, text, or whatever, and I can set something up. Until then, I hope you guys have a great rest of this week, a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. And I love you guys, and I will see you soon.